Osbud, I was signaling to you for the entire class. Why didn't you help me? Signaling? What do you mean? I didn't see anything. I nearly kicked your chair so that you'd notice. I forgot my glasses today, and the teacher asked me to solve a problem on the chalkboard I couldn't even see. Was it that difficult to help me? I didn't notice anything. It couldn't have been that bad, compañero. Stop complaining. Well, you know, I also wear glasses. I'm wearing glasses right now because I had trouble seeing the words as time went. I don't know. I guess my eyes got tired a little, and the words got a little blurry. So I want to wear glasses now. I'm wearing glasses because I don't usually like to wear glasses because I have to wear headphones at the same time. Makes my ears sore. Anyway, I'm rambling. But I remember when I needed glasses, and it was because I couldn't see the chalkboard anymore. He's punishing me with over 100 morpho syntax analysis for my homework. What? Once you start on it, it's not so bad. In 3 different languages. All you need to do is copy and paste them, but change some words. One of them is Etruscan. Is that real? The hell's that? I don't know. That's why I'm complaining. In any case, it's your own fault, compañero. You should have told them that you can't see without your glasses. Well, I was also sleeping for the first 40 minutes of class, and that might have influenced it a little. But that's not the issue right now. I wanted you to at least give me a hand. Did you really not notice I was trying to get your attention? If you're sitting next to me, then it's for a reason. Seriously? I repeat, I didn't notice anything. Not even that you weren't wearing your glasses. This is just a hunch that I've had for a while now, Oz. Can you read what's on the chalkboard from here? My classmate fixes his eyes on the letters that sit unerased upon the green background, and after a few seconds, he squints his eyes as he tries to decipher the content. Oz, don't tell me that you're nearsighted and didn't know it. What are you talking about? My eyesight is perfect. The board has math equations on it. You know, the usual. Our last class was Spanish. Well, that explains how I got a direct object for when solving for x. How the hell have you managed to pass until now? And that's why... Okay, so that was a flashback. And that's why I used my break to go home and pick up my glasses. Or rather, is it? Actually, no, that was... Because I saw that transition before, that blurry transition. Usually, that was meant for a flashback, but I guess it's not a flashback? Or, no wait, it is a flashback. I'm confusing myself. Anyway. And that's why I used my break to go home and pick up my glasses. It is a flashback, because it's a thing that it was in the past. Anyway. It took longer than I expected, and now I can't go back to school since the next class has already started, so now I'm wasting time. You're such a delinquent, Kier. This is the second time I've caught you playing hooky. Claire nods, convinced after having listened to my recollection. This morning, I ended up missing some classes because I decided to skip school to get my glasses. And to my surprise, well, I'm not really surprised anymore, Claire had the same idea. You could say that we're both delinquents. I've already explained the reason that I'm here. Now's your turn to tell me why you're here. A walk. I can already see that. I meant to ask why you aren't at school like the other students. Not going to school makes you weird, including you? That explains a lot of things. Your answers are always so weird, Claire. And that's because I answer your questions, Kier. A few weeks ago, this would have driven me crazy, but now I accept it as if it's an expected part of everyday life. Yet another coincidental encounter with Claire, that I still refer to as such despite the fact that I'm sure it had nothing to do with luck. I must admit that I didn't expect to meet her here today, though. I usually find her in the afternoon elsewhere, so meeting her here in the morning during the school day, it's happened once before, but I really believe that was a coincidence. Today isn't going to be a normal day, not even by the standard I've gotten used to since the day I received that first email. And that's something I can confirm from the moment she makes the following proposal. Hey Kier, I want to go to the library. It's hard for me to digest her words at first. I'm not sure which library she means, and if it's the one I'm thinking about, then I don't know how she knows about it. Yeah, it's supposed to be our secret hideout. But I guess, I don't know, Claire just knows a lot about us, apparently. But I immediately recalled that she was with me at the mall when Luz had been talking about my leg and the accident, and there's also the chance that she'd been following me around like she usually does. Well, there's nothing to see, and I'm pretty sure you already know the place. True, but it's different if we go together. She's concise with a tender, calm attitude that makes me want to accept her request without thinking it over, but I hold my tongue a bit longer. I know you well enough to know that you're going to do whatever you want despite whatever I say, so I don't mind leading you there, but... Blah blah blah, you're always moaning here. Is that place so important that you won't show it to me? Did you have an accident there anyways? I can't believe you go to a place with bad memories attached to it so often. Well, that's why I'm interested in going with you personally. Well, that's exactly why. You can't leave your past behind, so you always end up returning to that place, am I right? I glance away from Claire. But that's changed. What up until now was an empty, gloomy place is no longer that way, correct? I think of Luz. Since we made that deal, we've been meeting in that library almost every day, to the point it's become a habit. But I try not to think about her any longer since Claire is standing in front of me, and I don't think it'll be appropriate since she could get the wrong idea. And that's not the point. There were certain circumstances. There's no going back. What once was yours isn't any longer. Losing it or sharing it, your choices are decreasing, but paradoxically, it's opened a new world up to you. It's allowed you to meet someone. Even the smallest of actions can open an unexpected door, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want to know who you truly are here, more so than the concepts in my mind, and in exchange, I'll tell you everything that you want to know. I'll answer each and every one of the questions you're always asking. I scratch my forehead, unsure whether or not I understand Claire's intention. Hell, I'm not even sure I understand a single word of anything she says when she gets this way. I feel a certain mysticism emanating from her every time our conversations drift into this incomprehensible chatter, as if covered by a thick fog that somehow draws me deeper within it. It's close, like having the answer on the tip of my tongue. It only needs to take form. It's as if all the secrets of this world are slipping right through the space between my fingers. You in? Let's go now. Great! It's so easy to manipulate you, Kier. Don't make me regret it already. I'm kidding, baka. No, dummy. Cheerful and ruddy, Claire spins around as she tries to view the totality of the room all at once and with her retinas. A bright expression plays across her face as if she's remembering the best moments in her entire life. The last part is a hunch that only grows more and more likely the longer I watch her. She walks around the tables and explores all of the shelves with a passion of a treasure seeker that already knows exactly where to find their loot. She opens all of the doors she finds, only to close them again after taking a peek to see what was inside and nodding agreeably. This is fantastic, Karen. I love it. I'm beginning to understand why you're so obsessed with this place. Don't think that everything here is awesome. I have to clean the place from time to time, and it doesn't have water or electricity or anything really, but at least it's quiet. It's very quiet. It's so far away from the rest of the world that it gives you a lot of privacy, especially for doing it. Doing what? For the love of God, Karen, you weren't born yesterday. You know perfectly well. you know perfectly well what I meant. Or would you like to give me? God damn it! Would you like me to give you a demonstration of it right now? This has no H scenes, right? I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I choke on my own saliva, and in response, Claire loudly begins to laugh at me. What a coward you are, here. I'll give you time. We've already agreed to a certain date, and I'll honor that. I'm not a coward, but you can't say things like, "Are you sure?" Claire grabs my neck and pulls me closer to her, then stands on the tip of her toes until we're face to face. Our faces are so close that we're practically kissing. Sparks fly out such that even a light breeze could set the room ablaze. But in the end, the kiss never happens. No destiny wanted to give me that push. It's her that, after a few seconds, embraces me, wrapping her arms around my neck and presses her lips against my right ear. You're so cute when you're speechless, Kier. She lets go, releasing me and taking a couple steps backwards while playing with the ends of her skirt between her fingers. She looks at me and smiles, waiting for as long as she needs to. I don't need to hear her verbalize it to know exactly what she's thinking. The most important thing is for me to be truthful. I get distracted and sigh, looking away, and when I look back, she's gone. Again? She didn't, I was thinking maybe she disappeared again, like what happened in the rooftop, but I think it's just more so that she just moved somewhere else. One of the doors is open, indicating that she went farther into the depths of the complex, getting lost in the labyrinth's gray hallways and forcing me to call out her name. She answers me. I can hear her voice resounding from every direction, but I can't find her behind any of the doors or corners. It's like a game, a round of hide and seek that plays out indefinitely. Our voices echo within the narrow spaces between the walls that extend out towards every direction. I'll never be able to find her unless I decide which path I must take. I won't reach anywhere if I don't stop and listen beyond the words, understanding the melodic whispers that can only originate from one place. The music room. And she knows how to play the piano? That took a while, Kier. Was it hard for you to find me? The melody is deafening. My mind becomes a blur as I recognize the well-known tune that Claire is playing on the piano. She lovingly caresses the keys with her long, slender fingers. With a satisfying motion, she releases the rest of the melody, sentiments from deep in her heart fluttering about. We can talk while I play. Don't worry. I know this song so very well. By heart even. It's not a problem. Despite her invitation, I remain silent. I'm enthralled in memories, surprised in the beauty of the morning sun reflecting on the gentle waves on her hair, surrounding her face and emphasizing her charming smile. Every time I play the song, I always ask myself the same question. Is this a sad or a happy song? Yes, it does appear to be melancholic in the beginning, but as the song goes on, it gets more difficult to discern if it's actually a mourning of the past or a ballad of hopes for the future. Some say that, depending on your mood or who you're with, your impressions of things may change. This feels like one of those cases where the song doesn't define the emotion, but the emotion is what defines the song. I don't reply, unable to find any answer in the way the notes are playing. I hear them clearly, but it's impossible for me to put them in any satisfactory pattern. Do you know the history behind this song? I shake my head. Of course not. There is none. People are always trying to find a deeper meaning behind everything around them. A story that transcends beyond ourselves and gives us meaning. It turns out the composer that made this piece when he was younger, or rather, turns out that the composer made this piece when he was younger. He was ashamed of it for not being as good as his other works. He didn't publish it until many years after its conception, when he was a famous virtuoso and a client wanted to take advantage of his fame. And now, oddly enough, it's his most famous composition, the one he'll always be remembered by. Claire's playing roughens up, increasing the pressure against the keys without losing her pace and speeding up her words as she speaks. I was named after this song, for the peacefulness and the shining bright moonlight. The power we have to influence other people's lives is nearly inconceivable. To the point that for everything we're ashamed about, we can simply add expectations for the next generations long before they're ever born. That's why I so often wonder what this song is supposed to be asking of me. How I should be to meet its expectations. Her knees being to shake? I think that's another little typo there. Her knees begin to shake? I think it is begin to shake. I'm pretty sure. Her knees begin to shake nervously and intensely, rubbing against each other restlessly while her hands continue playing without losing tempo. It scares me. I'm afraid of not knowing what I feel, afraid of not having control, afraid of the lies behind every decision I make. And while I observe everyone else being worried about what will happen after they die, I'm scared of something even worse than death. I'm scared of life. The melody softens, poisoned with the unease that comes after a storm, followed by a great effort made by each and every cell in her body not to stop playing. It's not embarrassment. I simply don't want to shine. I want to be the background character that nobody cares about, talking and standing out just enough that no one notices me. Well, you're not a background character right now. You're talking to me, and this is the game. So anyway, that's why I hide, or at least that's how it was until something changed. Someone appeared and destroyed the foundation that I built with so much effort. I lived in the boring, peaceful, gray world that was closer to death than life, but those feelings that I long forgotten about returned to me and once again began blooming inside me. Stupid, isn't it? The complaints of a teenager. After that, those ideas spread like a virus, taking hold of the weak existence that can only express indifference for the world around it, immersing in it in darkness and waiting because it knows this may be its last chance to find happiness. Anxiety, envy, jealousy, anger, rage, violence, disaster. Being close to you has only awakened parts of me that are shameful, and I can't do anything about it because it's your fault. It's your responsibility. This is me here, the mediocre melody that fears becoming a classic, that doesn't know which side of the spectrum it belongs to, and that only needs 3 words from you to be unafraid. You can make all that I represent disappear, or at least all that I've already accepted, if you allow me to. Her fingers slow down as they reach the end of the song. The air is thick and heavy. There's something in it that burns, irritating my throat. My throat, to the point that I'm now totally, speechless. When I look at her, she smiles like she always used to, like she always does, and I can't accept that. Not with those sad eyes. When the song ends, we can't say anything. I've always been like this, right? It doesn't matter what I think. She already knows it. The worst part is that no answer will suffice unless it's truthful. I'm sure about one thing, though. I'm sure about the tenderness you used to play the Debussy song. And all the lies I wanted to forget. How does Kieran know that song? Is it... Well, if I remember correctly, the prologue, I think, played the same song. You know, referencing Debussy, I think that's I don't know how to say his name. Debussy. Was he the little boy? I think Karen also mentioned that he couldn't play any instruments because of his fingers, and I remember someone making a comment like that. I don't know. Anyway, I watch the other side's entrance and sigh, still searching for the best words for the naivety of someone who thinks there's a correct answer. Standing next to me is Claire. After what happened in the music room, she left without a sound, forgetting what had transpired in only a second, without even allowing me to give my opinion on it. It was too late, she told me, then talked about going back to school and some other stuff. She invited me to go back with her, and although it took me a second, I said yes. However, despite her laughing innocently about it, it's obvious that she's unhappy with my answer. I have to say something before we part ways. It feels necessary. But she interrupts me as soon as I try to open my mouth and speak. Thank you for accompanying me, Kier. I inhale deeply through my nose and give up. Don't say goodbye so soon. I'll go inside too. What? Why? What are you gonna do? It's a school. What in the world can I do? Homework? No, I just want to use the washroom. I'm already late for my next class anyway, so I'm gonna take it easy in the meantime. You know the way, right? Good luck then. I gotta go since I'm in a hurry. See you, Kier. I'm using the washroom. No luck needed. I can't finish my sentence before she's gone, and she didn't even let me say goodbye to her. As I finish my duties, I hear the bells start to ring, so I decide to wait here for a little while, until the students are done rushing around. It'd be a little weird if someone caught me and asked which classroom I'm from. Most people don't play hooky to another school on the other side of the street. I've already skipped 2 classes in a row, and by the time I get back, it'll be recess. Considering that, I prefer to skip the rest of the day and go home. When everyone's settled in their classrooms, I try to slip away, wondering what the stealthiest exit out of the building is. In my school, I would usually use the nurse's office's window, but I'm not sure that will work here since there's nowhere to go from the backyard. Still without a plan, I see one of the teachers heading in my direction, forcing me to turn back and look for another way out of the school. When I think I'm safe, I see another teacher going up the stairs not too far away from me. Is it that hard for these teachers to be on time for their classes or what? This would all be totally normal if it wasn't for the fact that I immediately find myself surrounded by yet another patrolling teacher approaching me. This feels less and less like a school and more like Area 51. Without anywhere to hide, I stick close to the wall behind me until I suddenly feel a doorknob hitting against my kidney from behind me. I see this as an opportunity, and I peek inside the small window attached to the door, praying that it will be empty. But that's not the case. Inside, I find a normal classroom filled with students taking notes, but there's an empty desk in the last row. They're listening to a lesson of a teacher so old I can't believe he's not retired. He seems to have a rheumatism, and he keeps coughing while he writes on the chalkboard. Well, there's no escaping now. I can't even think of a good excuse in case I'm found by patrol, especially because of the incessant coughing of that teacher inside this classroom. And that's precisely what inspires me with an idea. It's so absurd that it might work, and under the huge pressure that's on me right now, I decide to put it into practice. I gently turned the doorknob, slowly opening the door as to not make any noise, opening a small gap just big enough for me to get through. Everything happens in a second. I get inside at the same time that the teacher coughs, and with one finger I manage to close the door, leaving it behind as I combat roll on the floor towards the last row of the desk. Okay, maybe not combat roll, but I part the chair from the desk in a single agile motion, then hoist myself atop of the chair like a snake slithering up a tree. I take my seat, hanging my head low in an attempt to hide from the teacher and the students in front of me. I ensure in a quick glance that the door is closed, just as I expect not to raise any suspicion. Plan successful. My hands shake off with excitement, unable to believe that I've successfully pulled off such a feat. I'm better than damn Lupin, or Batman, or Waldo combined together. I'm a real god right now. My plan was perfect. No mistakes in anything in its plan, actual execution, or even the consequence. I'm sitting on my high horse when I look to my left and realize the single mistake that I've made. The girl sitting next to me. Well, Luz is a student, and so I guess it so happens to be her class. So surprise? Amazed, incredibly amazed by how expressive some people can be without even speaking verbally. Why are you here? She doesn't even open her mouth, no sound is heard, but I can tell what she's saying as if she's shouting it directly out of her mouth. Explain yourself, or die! Seriously, I'm freaking out. This must be the closest thing to telepathy in the whole world. I don't even mind the purple hue my arm is taking from her strong grip. I raise my index finger, asking Luz for a second. I lower my hand down to my pants and take out my notebook, opening it to a blank page, and I begin writing. I think he's writing this. I thought I was boring and predictable. I can't believe you came here to do this just because of the comment I made at the mall. Luz uses her pen and writes on the page, although I do notice that at the end of the sentence she adds a small smiley face, except it's frowning instead of smiling. Parentheses. How do you how do you say it verbally which parentheses you're using? Left and right. Anyway, I don't know. Not really, but since I'm here, I can take this opportunity to tell you something. Tell me something. What? Can't you wait a bit for that though? Once again, she adds a smiley to the end of her sentence, this time a face with a question mark over its head. More detailed than your average emoticon, really. Is it like an emoji? Anyway, I know everyone writes like this on their cell phones, but it's the first time I've seen someone do it on paper. Do you always add smileys to everything? What do you have against smileys, huh? I can't help but giggle when I see her start to draw something after her last sentence, but she crosses it out before giving me the notebook back and sighs with regret and shame. Nothing. They're cute. Don't be shy. I accepted that you're insane a long time ago. At the end of my sentence, I try to add my own smiley, a face covering its mouth as if it's laughing at something. It's a pity that my artistic abilities haven't improved since kindergarten. It's hard to believe that my smiley has a shape in the first place. Luz ends up covering her mouth with one hand and holding her stomach with the other, trying to hide her unusual cackle so that nobody will catch us. What is this? This is a disaster. Now I understand why you chose to write instead of draw. As always, she accompanies her sentence with a drawing, this time with a silhouette of someone laughing on the floor. LMAO. Or, was it rolling on... I don't know my acronyms. Anyway, like I'm trying to remember rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. Like ROFLMAO? ROFLL. Yeah, anyway, what if... This does not matter. That's not true. I can do better than that. I was just in a hurry. OTL. I guess that's the kneeling position. OTL? OTL, you know, in the mouth of the brisk guy sitting on all fours. The O is his head, the T is his arms, L is his legs. You're supposed to be the smiley expert. I think it's more, you know, it's more prominent in Japanese culture because that's how you know, that's how you like, you know, kneel in like very, I think it's when you're very shameful or something, you're trying to apologize or something, but it's like serious, you know. You don't usually kneel like that in a normal situation. But anyway, well, excuse me, I don't know why, but I figured it was the acronym or something important. Something that defines us. Forget it. An acronym? Acronym? First thought that comes to my head, one true love? That would be weird. But I guess, I don't know. It seems like all of the girls in this story are attracted to our main character here at this point. We're practically a harem protagonist. But I don't know, maybe I'll be surprised by the end because as far as I know, there's no choices in this kinetic novel, right? So I don't know what will happen. Anyway, in any case, let's get something straight. Drawing is too much for you. You know that drawing is better, greater than writing. I raise my chin as if to ask, what's wrong with you? Luz then amends the previous sentence, albeit in her own special way. Drawing greater, like multiple times than writing. I'm finished, I think, as we start fighting over the notebook's monopoly. Or I'm finished, or I don't know. From then on, we start a meat war between us where we fill several pages with drawings, circumlocations of insults and critiques of all different kinds. The acidic content of the spilled ink doesn't rust our enthusiasm, and our familiarity breeds our contempt to the point that we enjoy our competition to see who has more imagination in talking shit about the other. I'm barely coming out of this exchange unscathed, since the quality of my drawings is just laughably awful. So much so that Luz can hardly contain her laughter. It's one of those times where the less you want to laugh, the harder it is not to. During one of these fits, the teacher suddenly goes silent and intimidatedly gazes in our direction. We hold our breath with faces that anyone would declare guilty from seeing them, and then the teacher clears his throat and continues from where he left off, letting us breathe in peace once again. Now look what you almost did. I'm sure the entire classroom has already realized that you're here. What are they gonna think? Well, tell them that I'm the ghost of Christmas past, but I'm running a bit late. Why do you even care what they think? No, the only thing late here is your brain. To everything. I like to see how you react in the reverse situation. We're going to graduate soon anyways. Why do you seriously care at this point, lady? Luz takes some time to think after reading my last sentence, this time replying without any smiley at the end. I'm always pretty worried about what others think about me, right? You must think I'm obsessed. Luz seems to relax, but her lips tense, cloaking a mood one can only describe as downcast. It makes me stop and question my reply. Since it seems inappropriate to continue joking and playing games, I decide to give her a clear and elaborate response. Who doesn't? If someone denies it, they're lying. He once told me that what others think is important because society is a reflection that lets us see our true selves. I agree with that, but it doesn't change the fact that sometimes we can be a bit more careless when we know that we can't hurt anyone else, don't you think? A brief smile crosses her face while she's reading. She takes her time writing an answer, probably pretending not to leave out any important details. And it's just that I've always clung to the excuse of having to fulfill everyone else's expectations because that way, I can forget about what I actually want. My fondness for drawing isn't so much for the love of art, but a way to make my dreams take shape. It's for the millions of ideas and dreams that cross my mind, believing that somehow I can eventually live out all of them. Now, while everyone else is deciding and forming their own personas, I'm summoning a persona in Persona 4. Anyway, that was a dumb. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to make a reference to Persona, the video game series, but all of this is just a word, and Persona is a generic word anyways. Like, it doesn't mean the game necessarily, you know. So at this point, I'm just trying to force the reference into the game, even though there doesn't need to be. Anyway, I'm afraid of embarking on that journey. I'm scared of discovering that I can never become the person I dream of being. Especially because who I've dreamt of becoming is an incomplete idea, an assignment that has yet to be fulfilled, and ideas like drawings are always perfect in our minds, but they turn out differently on paper. Luz looks away while I read her note. I have to tap her on the shoulder. I have to tap her on the shoulder to give her back the notebook with my reply. I think you should keep doing what you believe in without questioning your future, Luz. Because I doubt you can smile in your dreams as happily as you have while you were drawing. She blushes. She tries to write down her reply as quickly as possible. I can see the words "it wasn't because" on the paper, but she regrets it and crosses it. The bell rings, and the students around us start organizing their books while the teacher raises his voice to give his final instruction before leaving. Well, it wasn't... okay, now that I think about it, she was, I guess, smiling while they were hanging out in the library, and maybe she was gonna write, it wasn't because she was drawing, it was because she was with, Kieran, Again, harem protagonist at this point. Anyway, in the time it takes me to turn around to look in the bell's direction and then return to my original position, Luz stands up and pulls on my shirt, dragging me out of the classroom and into the hallway. Luz then drags me to an even further hallway, and once there, she puts her hands on her waist and looks at me. Well? Well, what? You almost suffocated me. Why did you come here? You told me that you have something to tell me. Well. I scratched my cheek, trying to look surprised and also trying to buy some time. Nothing. It's just that I finished another chapter of my story, but I left it in my bag, so I have to give it to you at the library. Did you really come here for that? Well, no, but since I was close by, well, sneaking to your classroom was just something that happened. Luz shakes her head, resigning herself to my explanation despite being quite unconvinced by it. Well, it's not the first time you've done something like this anyway. I expect anything and everything now. Well, with that being said, it's best if I leave before the bell rings again. I have to take this opportunity and hope that I can sneak out this time. Wait a sec. I've already turned around when Luz stops me. She looks nervous and speaks like she's embarrassed about something. I'm not going to the library this afternoon. What do you say we meet after school and you give it to me then? As you wish. I have it in my bag, so I can do it then, but... Well, it's better this way. We'll meet up later, okay? Luz sees me off in a hurry, leaving me disconcerted, but still, I choose not to give it too much thought and leave without asking any questions. The entrance of the school is full of students walking around. It's recess, so absolutely no one is standing still. Trips between the playground and the cafeteria fill the hallways with students and my ears with haphazard noises. I'm a few steps in the front of the exit before I hear my name. I can't tell where it came from even when I turn around. It takes me some time, but I finally locate a familiar face among the crowd, gazing towards me and greeting me with a slow but firm nod. Hi, Kier. I didn't expect to find Denise there, causing me to act awkwardly. Oh, hello, Denise. What are you doing here? What am I doing here? I'm enrolled here, remember? The odd one out is you for being here right now. I don't think there's a committee meeting yet. It's not like Ziva would let us either. She's carrying all of the burden by herself. Nothing good could come of it. Denise tries to make a joke about it, but it doesn't seem to work, and an awkward silence ensues between the two of us. Yeah, you're right. It's a complicated situation. I could tell you about it, but it'll take a while. Everyone is already gossiping about you in my class. Nobody knew who you were or where you came from. Pretty sure Luz is being massacred with questions. About me? Wait, how do I know? Well, because my seat is 2 steps in front of Luz's, near one of the walls. Everyone realized what was going on, but the teacher probably didn't since he must be seeing now at his age. Nobody knew when exactly you came in, but little by little, rumors started spreading around, and eventually the entire classroom was whispering about it. Well, luckily nobody reported you. You would have noticed it yourself if you hadn't been so busy having fun with Luz. Denise speaks calmly and with a broad smile, making it exceedingly difficult to discern what the real meaning behind his words is. I simply nod, answering with short, meaningless monosyllables, unable to think of any better way to react to the situation. I'm happy for you. I know that you're in a hurry, so you don't have to explain it. But as I'm sure you'll understand, I was pretty damn surprised when you suddenly appeared in my classroom, out of nowhere. We're friends, aren't we? It's normal to be interested. Yeah, sure, we are. I'm sorry, Denise, I'm afraid that it isn't what you think. If you say so. In any case, try to be more careful next time, and I don't only mean about yourself. I tilt my head and raise my eyebrows, unsure of exactly what he means. I'm talking about Claire. A flashback of what happened with Claire and I this morning crosses my mind at the same time that Denise mentions her. It takes me aback. Anyways, I'll stop bothering you now. See you around. Denise bids me farewell by taking his hand out of his pocket and lazily waving at me, then walks away while yawning. It takes me a while to react. Eventually I sigh, and begin the journey back to my own school. The trip feels like it takes an eternity, and I consider going straight home instead, using the intense pain I feel in my right leg at this moment as an excuse. But as I get closer to the school's vicinity, I find Oz, so I try to forget all about my problems and greet them as if nothing has happened. Think that it might go away if I ignore it, although that's never worked for anyone before. Ignore what? Ignore the pain in your leg, or ignore Oz? Or, in general, just the problems. The internal conflicts that Kieran is having. Anyway. My arms are hanging down perpendicularly, and my head leans up against the back of my chair. I'm engrossed by the sight of the ceiling. Do you give up, compañero? I don't talk, I'm thinking. Give me a minute. I definitely don't sound very convincing, but this is all I can do to buy myself some more time. When I turn my head around, I notice Ziva amongst a group of her classmates. She averts her gaze, but I can't tell if it's on purpose or not. Truthfully, it's been a few days since she's been acting oddly. Normally, I wouldn't worry about it since it's Ziva, but you never know what she's planning. It's then that I inconsiderately call out her name. She skeptically turns her eyes towards me once again and points a finger at herself, in shock that I've reached out to her. Why are you calling Ziva? There are no rules that forbid us from asking for assistance. That's not fair. What's wrong? When do we cease to be your favorite guys? I want to ask her that, but instead I decide to preserve it as a thought. Okay, well, Ziva usually always says, how are my favorite guys, when she, joins us and I, in our little shenanigans. I'm running out of ideas. Give me a hand. I show her the sheet of the paper sitting on my desk. She takes a look at it while I switch seats to a nearby empty chair and invite her to sit with us. She thanks me without stopping reading. She thanks me without stopping reading. Is that what? That sentence just sounds weird to me. I don't know why, but it just sounds weird. Without stopping reading, so shouldn't it be she thanks me without stopping to read? Maybe is that a typo, or I don't know. And once she sits down, her eyes dully rise above the sheet. Okay, well, I think I've never seen. I guess I think it's just to describe her eyes being dull. I guess, or rather, her eyes dully. Okay, now, it's probably a word, dully. It's just I've never seen it used in this way before. And her eyes dully rise. Anyway. Your ideal girl. Debate number. Oh, okay. I'm really bad at Roman numerals. CLX. Like, what is that? Is that 6? Is that 6 and 10? So 16. I don't know what CL though. CL is probably even higher. I don't know. Is it like hundreds and thousands? Like, I'm not sure. I actually don't know. I just know that XVI, or well, they're not literally XVI, but they're numbers. It's I think it's like 16, but I don't know what CL is. CL is probably like 1,000 or million. I don't know. Whatever. I'm an idiot. I can't read Roman numerals, man. Debate number, really high number. Us, go to hell edition. Don't tell me that you guys are still doing this. Sadly, yes. I've started to write down all of the past proposals to keep in archive so I don't repeat the same one twice. I thought it'd be faster this way. But we're still here, and I still haven't found a single thing that us would find unacceptable. I'm starting to consider calling the police so he can go to jail for being a huge pervert. I'd rather not ask, but why did you guys start this in the first place? And why are you obsessed with keeping it going? Us and I look at each other with empty eyes. Neither of us can remember how this madness started. I don't see the problem with two men having a fascinating and deeply philosophical discussion about the human psyche. He means to say that we have tons of free time. You aren't helping here. Also, the only one here with tons of free time is you, who can afford to leave the school for 2 hours and come back as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, I was super busy at school, trying to put a good show in your absence. It shouldn't take that long to go home and back, you know. Well, I went to the other side, too. My two friends stare at me, baffled. I ignore them and continue minding my own business. Well, the only things I'm missing now are inanimate objects. So, a rock? Well, no. Well, in this case, there should be a statue. Would you make out with a statue, Oz? You went to the other side earlier, Edian. Yeah, and I think it's weird that either of you ask about it, considering how busy both of you are. You would have found out sooner or later from Denise or Luz anyways. How can you maintain a relationship with a statue? They might have been the pornography of the olden times. But the idea of relationships is to talk with others, or at least living beings. Unless it's something like that story Denise told us. In reality, though, the only one who falls in love with inanimate objects is you, compañero. Forget about that nonsense for a second. You met up with Denise and Luz, Edian? Not exactly, but yes, you could say that. I can see Ziva's throat contract as she swallows. Contrary to her usual behavior, she doesn't ask any more questions. Still, I can tell by looking at her that she wants to know the rest of the story. I snuck in during one of their classes and spoke with both of them. Nothing special, so don't overthink it. By the way, Denise said something about you carrying all of the committee's workload by yourself. You spoke with Denise? You? Don't say it like that. Let me remind you that we're also committee members, so you can always ask us for help. Finals are coming up, and it'll be wrong to leave everything up to you. Yeah, I mean, no, don't worry. Everything's almost done, but thank you, I guess. It's not often that you offer your help to someone else. Her cheek muscles tense as they try to recall a cheerful expression, and her fingers nervously twitch against the wood of the desk with an unharmonious rhythm. By now, she'd usually force me to tell her everything that I've done in as much detail as possible. However, all I'm sensing from her body language at the moment is impatience and fear. It feels as if she's trying to end our conversation as soon as possible, as if I'm forcing Ziva to pretend to be herself. Caballero. Oz seems to notice my meditative state and stops my train of thought with an inquisitive glance. I can see the fire burning in his eyes, body language coming out of every pore of his skin and settling into the situation. Alright, Oz, you win. I can't think of anything else. Sweet. I got to the point that I can only think about stuff in my immediate field of vision, like the garbage, or a pencil case. I swing Oz's pencil case around in my hands while I complain about my defeat. Oh, why are you so silent, Oz? Me? No, nothing. In short intervals, my friend's eyes shoot towards the object I grasp in my hands. The world suddenly freezes as I place my concerned attention on Oz and his pencil case. Oh no, you didn't. Never, I mean, never, yeah. Well, maybe a little. It's just that, depending on how you unzip it, I leave the classroom before Oz can finish his sentence, then return in less than 10 seconds with plastic gloves, a lab coat, and a breathing mask covering my face. Evacuate the classroom! Everyone is in danger of getting infected! Oh, what are you doing with that lighter and higher hairspray? Hey, that's my case. Everything that can stand the fire you shall pass through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall also be purified with the water of impurity. Numbers 31:23. Why are you quoting the Bible? It's too late for me. I've already been infected by it. Quick, Ziva, there's not much time left. I need you to amputate my hands before it spreads to the rest of my body. It's my last hope to keep living. She can't help but raise an eyebrow when I hand her a ruler. I lay my arms on the table as I wait for her to react. She sighs and drops the ruler like a guillotine. I contract my wrists inside the lab coat in time to make it appear as if my hands have been cut off. My hands! They're gone! I won't be able to play video games anymore. Oh, that's horrible. Don't worry, Compañero. You can still use your stumps to play mobile touchpad games. Oh no, Kirun, he's gonna get into gacha games, and his gambling addiction will ruin his life, and that's how the visual novel ends. Ah, that's even worse! The two of us clowns caused the usual commotion that we're characterized by. Ziva can't help but be in disbelief. Still, her lips curve cheerfully from seeing us mess around. Hey, it's really hot this time, watch out! And of course our joke escalates pretty quickly. Who arrives just in time to see us trying to stop a fire? Exactly, the new substitute teacher. We're just getting a new substitute teacher every time. They just don't want to deal with our shenanigans. I can't really keep calling her new though, considering the amount of time she's punished us already. Oh wait, no, she's the same one. I thought, well, in my head I thought they kept cycling new substitute teachers because each one just quit right after, but actually it's the same one. Classes have ended for the day. I'm on my way home. When I reach the gates, I look back towards the school. From here, I can see a large mass of students passing through its doors, students chatting and walking side by side. I usually have someone walking with me too. Well, today is an exception because the substitute teacher has taken Oz hostage after the small incident earlier. It's weird. Even though both of us were involved in it, she seems to have a fixation with my dear friend Oz. I wonder why that is. Ziva left without saying goodbye. I know I was the first one to wish for that girl to leave me alone, but it's difficult to get used to this kind of change. From being pursued to ignored in only a single day. Well, I guess, you took for granted the relationship you had with Ziva, Kieran. You actually like having Ziva around, don't you, Kieran? Doo-doo. Doo-doo, why did I say doo-doo anyway? Standing here, watching the influx of people exiting through the big doors of that building, a reflection takes shape inside my mind. My world is so small. At this school, everyone knows me as one of the class clowns, but that's also exactly what makes me a nobody. I don't stand out enough for people to take me seriously or consider me their friend, and at the same time I'm not insignificant enough to build up my mystique or cause worry to those around me. At this very moment, I'm a single tree amongst a forest. The only difference is that once the school year is finished, I'll remain in those people's memories as a blimp. Or a blip. Not blimp. A blimp is the aircraft that flies. Well, is a blimp an aircraft? I guess it is. Well, when I think of aircraft, I think of airplanes. But does like a blimp? It's like, does it like count if it's like any kind of vehicle that flies in the sky? I don't know. I'm only in the hearts of a few people from this school. No more than 10 if you take into account the entire town. It's not a unique situation either. This is probably applicable to most people, but sometimes even the smallest of things can make you reflect on yourself and realize how easily we can lose what little we already have. Yes, pretty much I can confirm that, in high school, you really don't remember most things, like most people anyway, from your time in in school, really. It's just the very, probably the closest people you can probably remember, but otherwise, everything else is basically a blur. Unless you, intentionally made some good memories there in school, I guess. I didn't really pursue anything like that. I just, drifted through school like normal, I guess. My world can become bigger or smaller, but rarely will it remain the same size, since time and destiny are so capricious. It's in my hands to decide what to achieve and in which direction I should go. And where is it, I wonder? For now, I resign myself to going home, I guess. The Going Home Club. That's my favorite club.